Attorneys Institute and the county. SAVIN is a program that is a statewide program that is used for victim notification services for when a victim is notified when an incarcerated individual is being released or any other information that they may need as a victim through the District Attorney's Victim Services Victim Witness Office. So this is to just to renew that contract for 1920.
I'll make a motion to approve the SAVIN agreement.
Second motion.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the SAVIN maintenance agreement. Any comment or question? Not all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. So moved.
Okay, I have disabled veteran exemption from real estate applications here for John Kuhn of Deer Drive, Jonestown, Gene Perrin, Poplar Street, Lebanon, Scott Malley, Edgemont Avenue, Newmanstown, all who have met the requirements for the program, and if we've received notifications, they're eligible.
Make a motion that we approve the exemption from real estate taxes for the four folks presented.
And I'll second that motion.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve those property tax exemptions. Any question or comment? If not, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. So moved.
I have a application for county aid from Liquid Fuels. Two of them. First is for South Londonderry Township, and they would be using this for general maintenance in the amount of $6,991, which is equal to the amount of the grant that they're eligible for. Also for Richland Borough would be using their county aid for road salt purchases in the amount of $1,519, same as the grant.
I'll make a motion to approve the two liquid fuels requests.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve those two requests. Any question or comment? Hearing none, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. So moved.
Actually, if it's all right with you, could we move right to the PrimeCare? And that might give us a little more time. They're all here.
Yeah.
Then when Carol's here, we'll just do that second.
Yeah.
Is that okay with all of you?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Good morning.
Morning.
Go ahead.
All right.
Morning, Commissioner.
Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome.
Warden, would you like to introduce your colleagues this morning?
Yes, my name is Warden Robert Carnes from the Lebanon County Correctional Facility. To my immediate right is the CEO of PrimeCare Medical, Esquire Thomas Weber. And to his right is the Vice President, Frank Cimikowski from PrimeCare Medical as well.
Okay. How would you like to proceed?
Well, Commissioners, as I basically said on April 4th, that we wanted to enter into a contract of agreement with PrimeCare Medical and seek that contract. That contract, as of this date, has been drafted, has been reviewed by our solicitor, and all the components that I explained to you on the 4th have been put into place and have been indicated in that contract. And I'm coming to you today to ask your permission to formally put that to sign that contract, and I'll defer to Tom and Frank to explain any specifics of the contract that we have, and also give a backdrop to their company. But we want to try to get this up and moving and actually have it in place for a startup date of June 16th, 17th, as I've indicated on the April 4th meeting, and give them permission to have access to the facility as of next Monday, June 10th, to start bringing in supplies, etc. So the transition will be less than catastrophic, so to speak, as far as from an operational standpoint. So with that said, I'll defer to Mr. Weber and Mr. Cimikowski for any questions that you may have regarding the contract.
The only thing I'd like to add, it's been reviewed by our solicitor, but it's also been dovetail with our insurance carrier and
Yes.
so on. So this
Yes,
is
that's
all
correct.
clear.
That's
and,
correct. Yes. There have been many hands in it, yes.
Yes. Okay. Just wanted-
I have two questions. Number one, like nonprofits don't pay sales tax. Does the county pay sales tax?
No.
Okay, because in the contract, it has sales tax of $1,800 on a dental suite.
Yes. That's because we're purchasing it for you. We have to pay tax.
So you had to pay the tax
Yeah.
and we're.
And that we'll make the outlay of the capital contribution all at once and acquire it, and then we're allowing you to pay us back over 36 months.
Okay.
We
that
could
answers
save
that
the
question.
$1,800, but then you would have to come up with the, $32,000.
Okay, well, I wondered why the sales tax was there, that answers that. And then my second question is, it doesn't really say here that we retain the dental suite should you exit, and that we've paid it. So is that something that should be added? In other words, I see where the contract is 6 months and then 3, and then with extensions of 1 and 1 years, but it doesn't say that we would retain ownership of that dental suite.
That's not a problem. We can certainly add that. I would hate to see that slow down the process of us
Oh,
getting it.
no, I don't want to slow down the
And-
process, it's
yeah.
just an observation.
Yeah.
That could make it a little more clear,
Understood. Yeah.
since you're purchasing.
But you're paying it, so it will be yours at the end of 36 months. That's the initial term. Maybe what we could do is once hoping and assuming you'll take the option year with the addendum for that, we could make it clearer, or we could do it sooner if you want, whatever provides you with the comfort you need.
That was the only questions I had.
I guess we could just add a line to there. It's not a signature page, so you can
Yeah, we just,
probably maybe make a note to the 33,450.
I can get you that this afternoon. So we'll just need
And
to
he
get this-
will, I assure you. It's a
I
very good
believe you, I mean, you
process.
seem
Yeah.
like you've done very well with the contract and worked with the solicitors, and we had more than one involved, so, but those are just questions from an administrator, not an attorney, that I saw, so.
I will take note of it, and we'll be clearer moving forward with other counties. So
Thank
thank
you.
you for pointing that out.
Okay.
Do you want to refer to anything in here, or you want to talk in general?
Well,
Mr. Webber?
yeah, I know you have a busy agenda, so we certainly don't want to take up more time than necessary. We're here primarily just to answer your questions that you have regarding any of the specifics of the contract. We're very pleased to be here. I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to work with Lebanon County. As a company that's been in existence for 33 years, we have longed to form this relationship, and pleased that we are starting off. I will mention that the average length of our contracts is about 13 years, and that's with adding 18 contracts in the last 3 years. We still have our first contract 33 years ago. We still have our second contract from 32 years ago. And hopefully the way we negotiated and worked out issues with this is indicative of our business model, and that is to work closely with you. We know that this is a difficult environment that we're all working in. We have a difficult patient base. There will be problems that arise, but we address those head on. We encourage communication. You'll see us at prison board meetings. If you ever have an issue to call any of us in, we'll be more than happy to make the trip here and discuss it. One of the things that separates us from our competitors is the amount of support we give to our facilities. Oftentimes, you create a satellite operation and no one thinks or cares about it. Why we've been able to maintain these contracts is because of our presence. And I know Frank and Jamie already had a relationship just from going back and interacting. We work closely with CCAP and PIMIC. In fact, the council who reviewed that as the final okay was a law school classmate of mine. So we had no problem ironing out that last little bit of clarity that she wanted. And so we're looking forward to it. As I said, we're here to answer any questions you may have.
And you're in all contiguous counties.
We affectionately used to refer to Lebanon County as the donut hole, because when you would look at our footprint, we had everything around, but not Lebanon, and Now we've closed that in and made it a cake. So-
Or the filling in the donuts.
The best part.
I would think from a resource sharing and, shifting people, that would really be a good marriage.
Yes, yes. I mean, and that's, our ability to take this over is because we have resources so close. I know we ran into an issue about 6 weeks ago where there was a need for some emergency oversight from an RN standpoint, and we were able to provide that on an emergency basis until we got to this point, so.
And we pointed out earlier during our transactions for personnel that you've at least offered all of our existing nurses employment with your outfit
Yes.
firm. Thank you for that.
And I think this package is a great enhancement over the, piecemeal approach. This is comprehensive, it's following the recommendation of our insurance carrier, so I think it's just a great upgrade for us and for our community.
Could I just spend a moment speaking to the price proposal, I guess, that's before you, because that's often where the questions come from, is the fiscal part of it. The proposal in front of you is for the first contract year, $3,031,000, which is broken down into a monthly fee of $252,000 per month. I spoke to this a couple months ago about what our existing costs are at the prison if you add everything together, and actually I think I may have missed one or two things in my summary of that in the sum total. And that is a little over $2 million a year that we currently spend on this kind of health care. So obviously this is a significant increase for us. I think that was something that you anticipated. I think that we knew all along this was going to be a more costly way of doing things, but certainly a more comprehensive way of doing things.
And we never had dental before.
Right. So we're adding some things here, not just time, but also services and other things that are clearly going to be a benefit. The way the pricing works, or the way the contract's going to work, and if I get any of this, if I'm mistaken here, feel free. But PrimeCare, for that cost, provides all of the services, pharmaceutical, mental health, medical, and so on, nursing, and also is responsible for the first $250,000 in a contract year of outside medical care. And that's detailed pretty finely in the contract here of what that entails. If for some reason they don't reach the $250,000 in a given year, the county and PrimeCare split 50-50 the remainder, the unspent balance of that. At the same time as we're paying for the monthly amount, we'll be putting aside $9,000 per month in a sort of a catastrophic fund, I guess you might call it. It's another layer. That will be then available in case the $250,000 is expended, if that cap is reached. It will go into that $108,000 that we've set aside as a catastrophic fund. If some or if any portion less than the total amount, so it's $108,000 a year, if less than that is utilized, then we have the ability to carry that forward as a credit to the next contract year. If it's all used, and we've gone through that full amount, that first $252,000 and the $108,000, and now we're in more than we ever thought, we will simply get invoiced for that amount over.
We will pay in that invoice.
Right.
Correct.
So there's an incentive there for everyone to kind of keep the costs under control. They'll do the billing. So any savings they realize, they keep 2.3% of the savings.
Correct.
So there's another incentive. So this has built-in incentives, I think, for everyone to just try and keep the costs down. Of course, not at the expense of care, but
Sure.
Just in the interest of public money.
Right. In this landscape, the viability of companies such as ours is based upon risk avoidance. As you painfully learned, the biggest risk is the litigation, and how you avoid litigation is providing good comprehensive care, and that's our model. Jamie mentioned a couple things that I would just like to highlight because oftentimes they're overlooked. He mentioned we'll bring in our own pharmaceuticals. We'll be responsible due to our relationships with pharmacies. We often see savings of about 90% over what counties have been paying when they're using a local pharmacy. In fact, there's one contract that we took over about 10 years ago, and our contract was less than their pharmaceutical bill. And to this date, our contract still is less than what they were paying for pharmaceuticals 10 years ago. So we net that savings. The other thing is the claims administration that is overlooked. When counties get their bills, they pay them. They're good, responsible payers in that regard. So when you get a bill from an outside entity, you oftentimes will just cut a check. We process claims just like an insurance company would to make sure that we're paying a fair, reasonable amount for the services rendered, but we're not overpaying. Last year, we processed about $28 million in claims for our clients, and they ended up paying around $7 million. So there's about a 75% discount in terms of what the county exposure is. We would hope to effectuate a similar savings in this regard. So you look at that number, and we do recognize it's a large item on any county's budget, but we do strive in order to make it efficient, comprehensive, and affordable.
My question, listening to you, is are you storing excess pharmaceuticals on site, or do you fill the prescriptions and bring them in daily?
We do both. We will have some stock because some individuals will come in after hours, and we don't want to discontinue any medications that can be verified. It's our goal to have any medications that can be verified in a patient's mouth within 12 hours. So we will have some stock medication. We know from our nursing presence over the last couple of weeks that there is a presence of pharmaceuticals in the facility already. We comply. Our pharmacies will come in and do an inspection quarterly to make sure that we are compliant with all Pennsylvania pharmaceutical regulations as well as DEA regulations.
One other thing that was not related to the pricing proposal, which is as Tom mentioned, we're painfully aware that the risk and indemnity and insurance coverage and so on that's in here is really what we've spent the last couple of weeks hammering out, and that is vastly improved over our situation prior. And again, as you mentioned, P Corp's in-house counsel has reviewed this. She and Tom know each other well, and that was really beneficial that they worked closely together. And we knew what we wanted through Barb Zemlock, and basically anything that Barb was happy with, we were happy with.
Unfortunately, she was busy for a while, but when we were finally able to connect, I think it took a 2.5-minute phone call on our part to work out where we needed to be, and then another 30 seconds to make the change and email it out, and we were done.
Yeah. So I just wanted to mention that because that's been a big part of this, and I feel really good about it.
The only other thing I wanted to add was to commend the warden and his staff and team down there for delivering this on time. From the beginning of the process, you projected we'd be doing it now, and we are. And that's in light of a number of other initiatives that you're putting out at the same time. So I realize that your plate's pretty full, but this was pushed to the front of the stove to get this as a priority. So we appreciate your folks doing it.
I'm thankful that they're here, and it's been a long time coming, at least for PrimeCare. As they said, we were the donut hole, and the former president, Dr. Carl Hoffman, every conference I would see him, he says, when are we going to fill that hole? Well, on June 6th of 2019, we're filling that hole.
Excellent.
And I think it's a good move for the county, but I can't take all the credit. PrimeCare has been instrumental in helping us in this transition, and other staff, despite having other things on the plate. So I appreciate what they're doing.
You mentioned June 17th, that's the effective startup date.
Yes.
Is there anything, well, I'm assuming there is some sort of a transition
Yes,
going on right now.
that's correct.
That your arrival isn't going to be like opening up a door.
Well,
Hey, we're here.
Typically it is, because normally we'd be replacing another contractor who would be responsible up until that period. Fortunately, you know, we don't have that situation here, so the warden and county have been kind enough to allow us to start a soft opening on the 10th. We've been in the building for a number of weeks learning, trying to put in some of our processes, but this will enable us to gear up, so to speak, because normally we start at 12:01 at midnight and take over, and it can be rather hectic. When we do our transition, we bring in experienced personnel from other facilities for at least 2 weeks to work around the clock with staff here. So it's on-the-job training, as well as, because we'll institute a computer and an electronic medical record on day one. And so there's a learning curve, so we make sure that we have resources that know the PrimeCare way here to help with that transition. We'll be rolling that out. That's a long-winded attorney answer for, yes, we'll be starting sooner than the 16th.
Okay, and one question for the board. Does Dr. Yoakum, is he still the prison doctor as of now? And at what point will that end?
On the 17th.
On the 17th? Okay, thank you.
We're ready for a motion?
I believe so.
I'll make a motion that we accept the PrimeCare contract for health care at the prison moving forward.
And I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Going once? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, so ordered.